This even going back to last year, we used to do it when we were with the Eagles way back. That we'd take those outside backers and we'd train them how to play four technique, so we could be against 11 personnel, be in that nickel personnel grouping and be able to jump into some odd. And we had talked about doing some of that stuff with those guys, especially with Blaze having the length that he has. Garrett kind of getting to that 260-pound, real strong, area now. So to be able to have those guys crisscross and co-learn it, I think is great. We haven't done much with those guys physically doing it yet, but that isn't something that's out of the question. And then we do the same thing. You guys have seen it. Especially on third down, we'll have those guys, the inside guys, out playing a 5 technique, or we'll have our, Caleb lined up as a 3 technique. So being able to kind of have those conversations where they all know how they fit the guy next to them, I think is going to be huge.
For Garrett, how much of a natural fit is that even up front, where I know in some instances, even from his freshman year, he was taking reps, like pre-game reps, correct me if I'm wrong, with the defensive line, like just to get himself energized, like have more, have a little more juice.
I wasn't here Garrett's true freshman year. Him doing whatever he does to get himself energized, I think I'll take it. Whatever, there's one guy I don't have to worry about getting too ramped up. So I could see him doing that. And that wouldn't surprise me at all. But those guys, we'll still kind of train them together in some drills. Like even today, we had probably, if we had 50 minutes of individual, 20 of them were together, and the 30 of them we kind of broke up different pods, different groups. Maybe one group was doing one drill, and then the other one was doing it, and then they switched, things like that.
He seemed kind of self-aware when he was talking today, Garrett, about the difference between just being a young guy on the defense who yells and makes a lot of noise, and being a fourth-year guy who is still vocal but is also a leader. Have you had conversations with him about that, or what have you seen from him in that development?
Well, I'm glad that he's aware of it, and to be honest with you, it's something that I'm real proud of him. Even the COVID year that the first year I was back, I told him sometimes the empty barrel makes the most noise. What are you saying? What are you yelling about? And and to kind of be able to now have put in the work that he has, and now I think he starts to understand what that means a little bit, where when he says something now, guys listen, rather than, I think if you just yell the entire time and no one knows what you're yelling about, you don't get a lot of street credibility. So now when he speaks up, he says something, I think it's to a point, and it's smart, it's football educated, and the guys listening to him, they respect the way that he works and the way that he trains. And you guys know we have the GPS on those guys throughout practice. No one's working harder than he is. I mean, that's a scientific fact. That's not a matter of opinion. So, that carries a lot of weight with guys.
I know they play very different positions, but I think you kind of saw JoJo get better and better and better as a player in the time that you coached him, and until last year when he was kind of the lead. Can Caleb take that? Has he kind of taken a step each year that can set him up for an elite kind of season?
Yeah, I think attitude-wise, probably very similar. JoJo, when he was young, he was all over the place, and a guy that kind of moved down from safety and had probably a different view on the position and things like that. And the more he trained, made a mistake, recognized the start, and fixed it, the better he got. And I think that Caleb's doing a better job of not just going out and just running, for example. Where are you running to? How efficient are you in your movement and your assignment? So for him, as he understands the scheme and how he fits in it, I think that's going to allow him to make more plays and to be a better player. Now, hopefully he can make the jump like that production-wise, because that would be the big deal, and we're going to need that out of him.
He has struggled a little bit just to get around tacklers. Have you guys talked about his technique of not just like moves and stuff, but just running around people sometimes?
Yeah, well, I think that goes back into the efficiency part of it. Hey, when you're running to go around a guy, if you got to go 8 miles around him that way to come back around, you're never going to get there. So being able to be efficient in the movement, and then also being able to have a repertoire, have a combination of moves. So now you're not as predictable, and guys don't know what to expect from you a little bit. So as he hones his craft and becomes a little bit better at it, I think that's what you kind of hopefully start to see out of him.
Ty's a guy that you helped recruit, but then you left. What's it like being able to get back with him now as he's emerging as a key player?
Yeah, it's exciting for me. I mean, I think Ty's got the potential is through the roof with Ty. So, and he takes it very personally. He's very passionate about it. And I knew that about him from the recruiting process. So, being able to get him, take that next step, and to see him kind of similar to what Garrett was, maybe we were just talking about a couple years ago, where he's passionate and he's trying, but kind of just all over the map, to now starting to get to be, okay, I've done this before, and he's starting to understand that. He's got reps that he's banked in games and been in true football situations. So I think that for him to take that next step is going to be huge for us this offseason.
So we talked about like the improvement as far as getting to the quarterback and who are some guys that you see coming along right now in this spring session? I know it's only one practice, but who are some guys you see have potential to be the next guy?
The guy's got to do a good job getting to the quarterback. Garrett's got to get to the point now. I think the second half of the season he was starting to get a little around the quarterback a little bit more. He's got to take the next jump in his game, and you can go really across the board. Caleb's got to be able to finish for us and make some plays. Probably left some out on the table last year, and then inside wise, Ty, Feast. Those are guys. Mosai is an athletic guy that can push the pocket. So, those guys got to do a good job. And then I think the understanding, having the whole group together and having an understanding of how everybody works together, create that pocket, keep those rush lanes. So now someone doesn't have a great rush on one side, but there's a step-up lane in the other side. So as they continue to work together, I think that's something that's going to be helpful for all the guys.
So you guys got a lot of playing experience, like on that D-line front, along those pass rushes. So how much does having that camaraderie from playing last season and going through those ups and downs help you guys jumping into the spring and kind of getting into it and playing?
Yeah, I think what part of the exciting part for me is seeing those guys kind of go, okay, now we've been through it. We've been through the game. It's been line bullets. Then this winter, this offseason, we sat and watched the tape, make the corrections, now get back out on the field and go, okay, now I saw what I'm seeing it on field level now, what I watched on film where I kind of was just running, trying to make plays and all that stuff. So we even saw, we had one instance today where two of the guys kind of, as soon as they come off the field, they say, oh, hey, that's exactly what we saw. We could have hit it like this and like that. And, they're starting to figure it out and understand it. Now the next part's going to be executing. Got to be able to bring it from the drill to the practice field to the game field with it.
And would this be probably the most experienced part as far as you guys having a lot of, like you said, guys having a lot of people coming back. How much does, I guess, this team kind of ride on the success of your practice?
Well, I think that it's always with the guys up front. You talk about offense, you talk about defense, who can control the line of scrimmage in the run game, first and second down. That's going to be a huge piece for it. And then I think we all want to see more sacks out of this group. So if we can go from being the guys that can control the line on first and second down in the run game to making those third downs longer, third downs overall, we'll have a chance to get to the quarterback a little bit more. And then the other part, we got to challenge these guys. We got to be able to get some first and second down sacks too to get the other team behind the sticks in the middle of the series, not just, oh, hey, it's third down, we got to go make a money play now.
You weren't in the meeting room with those guys from day to day, but you are now. And as you take stock of it, what do you think the redshirt freshmen did last year, kind of taking advantage of that year to build themselves up?
Well, to me, the redshirt year is always something. People always debate the redshirt year. Oh, some guys, I want a red shirt, I don't want a red shirt, or the parents want them to, or they don't want them to, and guys are always anxious to play. Some guys, to me, I was one of those. My brother and I are within a few years of each other. We played the same position at the same college. I redshirted. I needed the year to gain the weight to be able to be functional on the field and to be able to help participate and play. My brother was able to play as a true freshman. He went out and played, and we had very similar careers, and both ended up about the same amount of tackles, and both were captains and things like that. So I think the guys that had the redshirt year, and really some of these guys are in a unique position. Blaze and Jamari, who I've been around the most, they had a redshirt year and a COVID year. So for those guys to have both of those years and now be able to have that training table under the belt for 2 years and the weight room under their belt for 2 years, that's going to make a big difference. And I think that's something that both of those guys are going to be able to go ahead and catapult themselves. And that's why I think the jump from last year to this year is probably going to be a little bit more obtainable than it would have been if they were just coming off one redshirt year.
Yeah, you mentioned Blaze. He came out of high school, as most of these guys do, come to Nebraska, highly touted, whatever. How much patience does a guy like that have to kind of know his time and because some guys just pack up and
Well, I tell you, hit the nail on the head with that one. That's a great question, and that's I turn into the the old guy. Right? Back in my day, or these kids these days, right? I know that everybody seems like every generation says that, but there's a lot of instant gratification right now. I mean, everybody has it. I mean, it's on your hand, it's in your phone. No matter what you're doing, somebody tell me I did something good now, or I want my success now, and it's really, really hard. It's not, there was you go back, whatever. 30, 40 years ago, you may not play till you're a junior, or a senior. You go to you'd be on the scout team, you'd redshirt, then you'd be a backup, and so on and so forth. And now, there's a lot of things that have changed, and whether it's because of instant gratification, it's because of the transfer portal, it's because of whatever the reasons are. It's easy for guys to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to leave," there's something to being patient and putting your time in and doing the work. I also think it's guys, Jamari and Blaze, two that I can really, speak intelligently on. They put 2 years of work in where, some guys I think just say, "Hey, you know what, I'm going to go join the transfer portal," and they kind of just vanish and you never really hear from them again, and maybe they play somewhere else, but maybe they don't either. And it's an easy way to just kind of say, "You know what, I'm done with this. I don't want to do it anymore." And it's a little bit more palatable to be able to say that if you say, "Well, I have this other plan in mind." Now, maybe that plan never comes or not, but for those guys to have they stick to it and keep working, and they do a great job for Zach. I mean, we go down there, and Zach and I have a very good relationship. We talk about it a bunch. Those guys work hard at it, and it's just what we just said a couple minutes ago. Those guys are technically kind of still freshmen. I mean, between the COVID year and the redshirt year, and now they're going to have an opportunity to hopefully be able to put a lot of work in for the next 4 years.
And there's some guys in that outside linebacker group that you see with the potential to be impact players on special teams.
Yeah, I think those two are a great example right off the bat. And then Simon Odie's another guy that's playing the outside backer spot, and he's another guy that will have an opportunity. I think those three in particular. I think that with Garrett and Caleb, those guys are going to have some role on special teams where they're going to contribute. So I think that having all those guys be a part of it in some way, shape, or form, even if it's on one team. Hey, take Garrett and you want him on the punt team or whatever team Coach Bush wants him on. Then I think that's they'll take that role and run with it.
And I think you mentioned Odie. John Bullock's another guy that maybe they don't have the ideal physical traits to be an impact, like starter level player, but are those guys like that kind of equipped specially to be impact players on special teams with kind of their physical traits?
Yeah, I think John has showed it. In particular, John Bullock showed that he can be a four-core special teams guy. He's got great speed, athleticism, and he's a guy that can really run. So you can do some different things with him in the coverage game, and then strong enough to be able to be a blocker. So I think that he's definitely one. I think those guys in that nickel position, are kind of really ideally made for special teams. A combination of size and strength. So I think that would definitely be something that they can hang their hat on.
So the focus on getting more pass, getting more sacks, and getting more QB pressure. Are there certain packages that you may apply for a third down pass rush package or anything different this year?
Yeah, I think that with kind of the way that Chins has built this Eric's built this defense, it's third down is really a chance for us to get creative. We can get some different packages out there, get some different personnel groupings, and do some different things. And then also, now having the years into the package where you kind of know your first and second down calls, and the guys kind of have a good grasp of that. Now it leads you to kind of be a little bit more aggressive and do some different things on third down. So that keeps the teaching and the learning part, and it keeps the interest level for the guys as well.
Any blitzes possibly coming?
Yeah. Well, everybody wants to blitz, right? The linebacker coach, D-line coach, let's blitz him. DB coach going, whoa, let's play some coverage. So I think you got to have a combination of both. You got to be able to give a picture, present a package, and then from within it, you got to be able to drop 7 and have your some sort of four-man rush, whether it's a straight rush or games, and then you got to be able to have your blitz package out of it, and then you got to be able to drop 8 out of it. Try to now listen to Coach Whipple give his talk about the quarterbacks a little bit. You got to be able to confuse those guys, or at least try to. Otherwise, the systems, the schemes, these guys are too smart. They study too much. They'll be able to pick you apart. So you got to be able to show them one look and give them another, and then show them the same look and maybe give them something else out of it.
Garrett Nelson mentioned that with you overseeing the defensive line and the outside linebackers, like communication seems to be better with like the same voice kind of mentality. Have you seen that yet so far, and how could that be an asset going forward?
Yeah, I think that Tony and I were pretty close on the way we kind of looked at things, and we had a good working relationship, and so there isn't too much getting changed, but maybe just a little bit cleaner. And then I think also when they hear in the same room, oh, hey, not only do we want you to do this in particular assignment, but this is why. And oh, by the way, this is what the guy next to you is doing. So now you see how the puzzle fits together, rather than, hey, you do this and you do that, and then we meet in the middle. Now they kind of understand, all right, he's going to be doing that, I'm going to be doing this. Now that makes my job a little bit easier. So I think that part of it will be good for us moving on.
Mike, it seems like you never lack energy. What you do?
Well, I'm excited to be here. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm one of the lucky ones who gets to do something that he loves for a living, so I'm lucky that way.
But is there a different feel for you as you start spring football with some of the changes on the staff?
Yeah, I think it's exciting when for me to be with some the new players. Get in with those guys and get to work with those interior guys that I either coach when they were freshmen or help recruit and bring into the program, things like that. So I'm excited about that part of it. And then for some of the new coaches, I was Coach Whipple's GA in the spring of 1999. So my brother was a captain for Coach Whipple. So we have a lot of good Coach Whipple stories from on and off the field, which are pretty fun. But he's an awesome guy. I'm excited that he's here, and he's one of the smartest coaches I've ever seen, and doing this for a long time. So I'm excited that he's here, and I'm excited to get to know new guys as well. We haven't spent a ton of time together. Those guys have been pretty busy putting in their scheme and stuff like that. But get a chance to get out and interact with them on the field. It's been a lot of fun.
How many of those Whipple stories can you share publicly?
It probably depends on how many beverages we're having or things like that. But he's awesome and has always been a very intense coach that's always won a lot of football games wherever he's been, and always had great offensive quarterback play and things like that. So he's an awesome coach. You guys are going to love getting to know him. He's very funny. You're going to enjoy his stories, I think.
Casey's the most experienced guy among most defensive linemen, but obviously he's going to be out for the spring. What do you want to see from him? How can he stay involved? What role will he play as he recovers from the injury?
Yeah, the good thing about Casey's got a super outgoing personality, so it's easy for him to interact with guys. It's easy for him to stay engaged. The trick for him is don't get bored, and you have to be there, and it's not going to be as fun. And I've been on when you're not coaching or playing, those practices tend to seem like they last a lot longer. When you're playing or coaching, they go by too fast. But the big part for him will be just to be able to stay focused, gain the mental reps, watch somebody else make mistakes. Make mistakes, and then make sure that he doesn't repeat them when he comes back and go, we already saw that happen. Maybe it wasn't you, but it was somebody else. So if he can do that and stay focused, kind of continuing to learn, and at the same time being engaged with the guys. And he's such a leader, such an outgoing guy. No matter what, he could be talking to a group of third graders, and he'd be the most popular guy in the room, or he'd be talking to some older folks or something like that, and same thing. Everybody would want to talk to him, and he can hold a conversation with anybody. So the guys would kind of gravitate towards him, and he's a good guy, behind the scenes, asks good questions, and is really engaged in the meetings and things like that. So if he can do that, he'll improve himself this spring.
How does having some new quarterbacks in the backfield on the opposite side of the ball now going to challenge your players this year?
Yeah, I think that with having a lot of quarterbacks, I think that's going to create competition for the quarterbacks. So those guys are going to have to improve their play, otherwise they're going to get passed by. So when you do that, flip side for us now, the quarterback play starts to improve, and those guys have built-in competition with each other. They're going to get better, and it's going to force our guys to get better. So hopefully that trickles down and has a pretty positive effect on us as far as competition goes, and the way guys train, the way guys work, and also with having more guys, you have more live arms. So it's an opportunity to get more reps for when the guys are doing on 7-on-7 in the summertime. Maybe it's more opportunities for different groups of guys that maybe wouldn't have got a bunch of reps because quarterbacks can't throw their arm out in the middle of summer, things like that. So I think that hopefully it's benefit moving down for all of us. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.